Why did they say no? How might I have done it again, done it differently? You want me to repeat that because you just started recording?
Richard, you're right.
Oh, you're so good, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
That would be great.
So early in my career, which now is approaching 42 years full-time as a networker, I was, I think, a cynic or a skeptic enough so that when people said no, I really wanted to understand why they said no. I really wanted to understand their thought process. Of course, I said no the first few times, but I said no out of total ignorance. And so I wanted to understand why they said no. And so I'll just fast forward this because I know some of you have heard it before. What I discovered after a couple of years of talking to lots of people was that, sometimes people said no because they weren't interested in my product. It just wasn't a fit for them. They don't buy those kind of products. And so it's like I said, if you're trying to sell skincare in a truck stop, it's probably not going to work very good. So make sure that, you're talking to people who have demonstrated that they have an interest in the kind of products that you sell. And if that's the case, and you have really good products, most of the people that tell you no are not going to tell you no because they're telling you your products are no good. And that wasn't my problem, and I know that's not your problem at Shaklee. And nor did I ever, and this was, of course, pre-internet, pre-website kind of stuff, but I never had anybody look at my company literature, which back then we had pictures of our home office and pictures of our corporate staff, and I never had anybody point to my building and say, that's an ugly building, that's a lousy building, those management people aren't any good, and that's why I'm not joining your company. Never had anybody look at my compensation plan and say, well, that's not right, you should pay more % over here. Every once in a while you get some crazy network marketer know-it-all that says something like that. But generally what I found, the reason people did not join me is because their perception, not of my products or my company, but of the business model, was all wrong. They just didn't understand it. They thought they did. So there's some people that don't understand it at all. That was certainly the case 40 years ago, not so much now. But if you watch a Super MLM Man episode, you'll be blown away, I think, with how ignorant people still are in 2018 about our business model. They don't even know what it is. Their best explanation is it's Amway, whatever they think of that. And so, I also kind of have an engineer's mind. I think if I ever would have gone to school and got an education and somebody would have shown me the career of being an engineer, I might have ended up an engineer, because my way of believing that something works or not is not because someone says it does. You can parade 500 people in front of me that say, it works. I don't generally believe any of them. I want to know how it works. Like, show me the underpinnings of it. And so I just went through an approach with trying to teach my prospects network marketing in a way that they could understand how it worked and why it worked in sort of an indisputable way, because people can dispute people's opinion. I love network marketing. It works great. You can dispute that, but you can't dispute math and an engineer's approach. So anyway, that's how I created the 4-year career. I created it in 1979 as I was prepping for a presentation to a group of Drake University marketing students. And what I wanted to show them was, hey, if you would invest just maybe 5 or 10 hours a week while you're getting your education. So instead of partying maybe for 10 hours a week, do your schooling, but also build a network marketing business. Do that as a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. You could graduate with a residual income, even if it was $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And you and I all know if we actually spent 10 hours a week for 4 years, we'd have a huge income. But I was just looking to provide these graduating students with this perspective. I've got my college education, I've graduated, but I don't have to take the first job that's offered to me. I don't have to take any job. I could actually spend the next year or two seeing the world or seeing my country and, learning, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Where do I want to live? Who do I want to be? As opposed to being forced into servitude in some job because that's the first person that offered you benefits and a 401k and a salary. So people end up living in a city for the rest of their life, creating their whole family, their whole life there, because they really didn't have options. Anyway, that's where the 4-year career came from. None of those Drake University students got in. They didn't get it at all. And I kind of learned my lesson about talking to students. But I used that presentation for decades. I used it to build my organization, which peaked at 30,000 people by the time I was 28. And then I put it into a movie, and then I put it into a shorter movie, and then I put it into an audio. And 10 years ago, I had the epiphany of putting it into a book. And the reason I put it into a book is I was reading something or listening to something, and I just had this, wow. We are still in our DNA, even though it's not true, we still believe in our DNA that if something is in a book, it's wisdom, it's truth, it's valid, it's credible. And what I noticed is when I showed somebody an audio or a video, they watched it and listened to it like advertising. But when I gave them a book, it's kind of like being an author. Carolyn and I have talked about this. Everybody has this big facade about authors. Oh my gosh, you're an author. Well, you must be really, really smart, right? You must be really something. But, you can be an author, a published author, in 90 days. You got $10,000, even less. You got $5,000, you can be a published author in 90 days. Anybody can be an author. But the public's perception is like, wow. So when I put it in a book, made all the difference in the world, and I created this training program to not everybody you talk to, but some of the people you talk to, have them read the book or at least look at it. They don't have to read it. Just look at it. Look at the pictures, if you will. When they're done looking at the pictures, you're talking now to an entirely different prospect about your opportunity. They have seen things and read things that change their perception about network marketing. And we'll get into that on this training, like how to use the book and why to use the book. But I also wanted to weave into this my history and my affection for Shaklee. I got started in the business in May of 1977. And not my direct sponsor, but my upline, like the only people that knew anything about what they were doing in this business that I got in, were also Shaklee. I don't know if they were master coordinators, but anyway, they were like, they had a store and stuff. They were serious Shaklee people. And so I've been taking Shaklee products on and off. Of course, I take a lot of products and get exposed to a lot of products, but I was exposed to Shaklee products 42 years ago. I remember about 30 years ago, I toured the Norman, Oklahoma factory with the Direct Selling Association right after it opened. Charlie Orr, who used to be president of Shaklee, is one of my mentors. And I met Carolyn, 25 years ago or 30 years ago. I can't remember how long ago. And so we've had this shared path in the industry. And then something remarkable happened about I'm bad at years, but let's say, when did Roger buy Shaklee? 2004. So, wow, 12, 13 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. So I was fortunate. I'm not really sure why, but I was invited right after Roger bought Shaklee. And, I think it was part of a direct selling association event, but we were all sort of introduced to him. And I was invited to his home in Manhattan for dinner with about a dozen other people or so, and spent the evening with him there, listening to his vision and why he was looking to participate in the network marketing profession. And then I invited myself to have lunch with him sometime later at his office in Pleasanton after he got moved out there. And I saw, excuse me, the opportunity for the first time in our profession, ever in our profession, for mainstream, really intelligent business people to recognize the upside of network marketing. And Roger, in my opinion, is a Renaissance man. I mean, you all know him. He's very smart, very talented, very, very successful. Why would he be buying a network marketing company, right? So the answer to that is profound, why he would be buying a network marketing company. And then, of course, why did he buy Shaklee? Well, the answer's kind of like who's buried in Grant's tomb. Why he bought Shaklee is you have this very long, 60, 70 year, however long it is, history of these extraordinary products that have withstood an assault for decades of every competitive product imaginable, every marketing spin, every patent, every infomercial, every claim. Shaklee products have withstood all of that. Why? Because they're just extraordinary formulas. And fortunately or unfortunately, actually fortunately for Shaklee, most companies today, they're not interested in building the best and having the best be their marketing strategy. They're interested in marketing being their marketing strategy. And so I think Roger recognized that, hey, there's some really profound products here with unfulfilled potential. And then you have this company that has a culture that's a pristine, ethical, family, value-based culture. It's not about how much money you can make and how fast you grow and what kind of car you drive and all of that junk that has messed up the network marketing profession. And, so this is if you look at the Herbalifes and the Mary Kays and the Nu Skins and the Amways and the Forever Living and the Melaleucas of the world, if they can be $2, $3, $4, $5, $8 billion a year, well, Shaklee ought to be 20, right? So I'm assuming that's why Roger bought Shaklee. That's why I would have bought it. And so I'm just very honored to support all of you in your vision to spool this thing up. And in my opinion, the way you do that is don't invest any more of your intellectual property in the products. You don't need to do anything with the products. They're already extraordinary. All you need to do is use them and tell your story about the products. And then how you're going to grow is not by the products. You're going to grow by, if you could see, I got two hands here. Think of it like a scale. And if I asked you to give me 30 minutes right now, each one of you sitting in the room, give me 30 minutes right now without notes. What I want you to do is tell me all about the Shaklee products for the next 30 minutes. What's in them? What do they do? Why are they better? What's the theory behind them? What's the science behind them? What's the patent? What's the patent numbers? Whatever you want to say about the products. I would bet most of you in the room could give me 30 minutes without notes right now. So that's what you have here on this side of the scale like in this bucket, you have an arsenal, a wealth of competency and confidence about the products. If I were to ask you conversely, give me 30 minutes right now on how the Shaklee network marketing, wealth building, income opportunity works. Prove it to me. Convince me with your competency and your confidence. I'm talking about money, wealth. Give me 30 minutes without notes. Impress me, blow me away, enroll me. My guess, most of you, like, heavily weighted here, lightweights over here, like actually totally incompetent. Which, when you go to talk to a prospect, so you're probably familiar with the concept of confirmation bias. How does that work? Well, whatever your belief system is, which includes your competency and your preferences in life, as you move through life, you tend to only see and hear things that confirm your bias. So that's why liberals, when they're channel surfing, they tend to only land on the liberal news channels, right? And they watch the liberal news channels and they get reinforcement. They go, oh, yeah. And the conservatives do just the opposite. They watch the conservative channels and they don't even recognize the opposite, because we just tend to look for stuff that confirms our pre-existing bias. So if your bias is all about the product and you're standing in front of a prospect, a candidate, a potential business partner, you don't even hear what they say that are clues that they're interested in building wealth and having an optional source of income. You don't even hear it. Because what you're listening for is how sick they are, or how tired they are, or whatever, so that you can unleash on them your barrage of cures for their ailments. And they could be talking about their kids' college education, and then they go, and you say, are you sick? Where you could say, well, where do your kids want to go to college? But you jump on the cough, right? And so what this project is all about is not replacing your product conviction, but balancing it. So that when you're looking at somebody on your names list, you're looking at somebody on social media, you're talking to somebody, you are equally adept at hearing the clues that they might give you that would help you enroll them in the income opportunity. And the reason why you would want to do that is you got one of two choices. You can be a direct seller, a party plan, product-oriented company, or you can be a network marketing company. Network marketing includes direct selling. Everybody sells the products in network marketing. The difference is, in a traditional direct selling company, the focus is all on selling the product and the focus is not on expanding the sales force. In a network marketing company, the focus is all on expanding the sales force. And if you have lousy products, you may expand the sales force for a few years, but you're going to go out of business because people are going to quit as fast as you put them in. If you have really, really good products that people try and then stick with, you can focus on expanding the sales force, and everybody uses the product and everybody sells the products. And if everybody's focused on expanding the sales force, it expands. And what I would take you all back to is, I assume, Dr. Shaklee. If not Dr. Shaklee, the ownership and management of Shaklee over the years has consistently declared, we are a network marketing company. And how do I know they declared that? by looking at your compensation plan. If they wanted you to focus on selling the product, they would have put most of the commissions on your first level or your customers. But look how many levels you get paid on, and look where the percentages are. I have to move, my battery's going dead. And that's how we know you're a network marketing company. So what you might want to do, you not only have to plug it into your computer, you have to plug it into a power source. What you might want to do is take advantage of that you're a network marketing company and learn how to recruit. Is that a good stopping point, Carolyn?
No. No, everybody wants you to continue. How about if you extend, Richard, that, and thank you for all of that. What if you extend that conversation to the idea of having people take a look, of the recruiting, of understanding what the market is, of why people are looking for compensation in addition to products? I know it's a topic that we've referred to.
Well, I could talk about it for hours, but it really exists in a question. And it's a question I would pose to all of you. What do you think? We don't even need to talk about you, because we know the answer for you, or you wouldn't be in this room. But what do you think the people you're ever going to meet, including the people that are in your contact database now, everybody in your phone, everybody on social media, and everybody you're ever going to meet for the rest of your life, what do you think they're more interested in? The most amazing, high integrity, incredible quality, mind-blowing nutritional products created by God herself. Or an extra, totally separate source income, $1,000 a month for the rest of their life. Now, you may be a smart rat and say, well, they should be more interested in nutrition. And you're right, they should, but they're not. So here's another way to think about it in terms of a question. Do you think everybody in your contact base and everybody you're ever going to meet lays awake at night worrying about which nutritional supplement to take? Or do they lay awake at night worrying about how they're going to send their kids to college, how they're going to retire, how they're going to fix the transmission or buy a new refrigerator? And when you look at how people spend their lives, what does people spend at least a third of their life doing? Trying to find the best nutritional supplements on the planet? Do people commute 2 hours a day to tour health food stores looking for the best nutritional product on the planet? No, they commute 2 hours a day to go to work, and they suffer through work because money is the most important thing. It's not, but it is to them. So quit selling something to people that they're not that interested in, and sell them something that they're really interested in. And the way you prove that your income option works is by the validity of your products. And that's just bulletproof for you. All you do is show the history, show the science, show the accolade, show the testimonials, show the patents. Here it is. And you know what? None of that actually makes any difference at all unless you try the products for a month and you feel good on them. And So all of the evidence in the world that Shaklee has, all you're really looking to do with that is have that bring to bear on having people just try the products. And I don't know, this probably isn't fair, and maybe it sounds like it doesn't have integrity. But to me, it does have the integrity as long as what I'm selling has integrity. I would rather try to get people motivated to use a couple of $100 worth of Shaklee products every month, because that's how they're going to make $2,000 a month for the rest of their life, than to motivate them to use $2,000 worth of Shaklee products every month, because those products are going to make them feel miraculously different. And one of the challenges with your products is you guys have always avoided all the ingredients that actually make people feel different, right? I mean, billions of dollars have been made, putting like jumper cables to people. Here, try some of this stuff. How do you feel? Great! Give me some more of that stuff. But when you give them nutritional products that are actually safe and good for them, they don't necessarily feel like that. And even if they do feel good on the products, what happens with products is you create a new normal. So maybe the first month or two, people are on the products, they go, yeah, I feel great on these products. But what that does is it gets them to a new normal. And if you check with them 12 months or 18 months later and say, how are you loving those Shaklee products? They're like, I don't know. Why? Because there's nothing to compare to. They forgot how they felt a year ago. And new normal. So these are difficult. It's difficult to motivate people to stay on really healthy, pure, nutritional, not cheap nutritional products, which is why I like the strategy of stay on them because they're really, really good for you, and stay on them because if you do, you can make a couple of $1,000s a month by staying on them. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Excellent. You got total high fives in the room here. Richard, say something, will you, about, we're about to get our books. Say something about how you suggest people absorb these, use them, begin to apply them to our thinking and to our business. And I know we're going to do at a later time when actually people have books and have a little bit more personal experience, we'll take the opportunity to expand this conversation. But would you say something about how you suggest they start, what we should look forward to?
Well, the first thing I would do is treat the book. I'm not a religious person, but it's just an analogy. Treat the book like people treat the Bible or the Quran or whatever their spiritual source is. Notice how our relationship with books like that is we don't say, oh yeah, I read that. It's not a read it once book, right? If you have any respect for it or relationship with it, you don't read it, you study it. So I would strongly suggest that you take your 4-year career and you study it. And you study each chapter. And you study each chapter so that if I said, hey, Carolyn, you know what? I can't do the webinar tonight. I need you to hop on and give people 30 minutes on the 4-year career. And, you can use the book, but I don't have a PowerPoint. You just got to go with it. Like that, you would be able to do that. So study the book so that you own the material. And that's a process. You could do that for the next year. And by virtue of that, then Study the book with a highlighter. So take a highlighter and highlight anything that you want to remember or that really moves you, that makes sense, that maybe is kind of an epiphany for you. Also, really key, put your information in the book. So in the very first page, there's a section for you to write a note to whoever you're going to give it to, but more importantly, for your information to be right here. You could use a sticker for that, or you could just write your information in the book. So I kind of set it up that way so that what I want you to be doing with this book is this is your book. Got your name in it. You're highlighting all the stuff. You carry it with you wherever you go. I can't emphasize that enough. If it's in your car, you're going to miss opportunities. I've missed opportunities because it's in my briefcase in the overhead on the plane. Because it doesn't take very much resistance or friction, if you will, for you to tell yourself, I'd have to go get it. That's all right. I won't talk to this person. If you have the book with you, briefcase with you, in your purse, in your coat pocket, if you have the book with you, you'll be in a position to take advantage of opportunities. If you own the book like you own your products, then when you're talking to people, you will hear clues. And of course, we have this whole training program around the authentic networker, how to connect with people, how to be curious about people, how to ask them questions, how to listen, how to be present, how to be patient, how to be candid when they ask you questions, be totally transparent, be trustworthy, honor the no, all of this stuff. There is a very authentic way of connecting with people that has them feel good around you. Kind of the end result is you can create this art of when you connect with people, how they see you is as the most interesting person they've ever met. We're going to teach you how to do that. And that's the secret to enrolling people. Secret to enrolling people is not enrolling them in Shaklee. Shaklee is, I hope you hear my heart, one of my all-time favorite companies in this profession. But you have to know it's not the only company in the profession, right? And it's not the only great company in the profession. There are quite a few great companies. There's not dozens and dozens, but there's at least a dozen great companies in your caliber in the profession. And your compensation plan is just like a whole bunch of other compensation plans. And you got really, really great products, but so do other companies have great products. And sometimes that's just a matter of whether you like the label or not, or you like a particular ingredient or not. Very subjective, right? The secret to enrolling is not selling any of that stuff too much. The secret to enrolling is to put yourself in a position with your prospect, where they're more interested in you than anything else. And that's an art, because there's only one of you. You know, put it best by somebody I heard a few years ago talking about showing somebody Amway. And the prospect said, oh, I've seen that 4 or 5 times. And the distributor said, well, you've never seen it from me. And, you know, that's a distributor that understands the edge you have is you. And it's not how you pitch people or how much knowledge you have. It's who you're being when you're being with them. So we have a whole art around that we will teach you. But it is simply as, here's like the technique, if you will. I'm not big on techniques, but I have a few. And you can personalize this however you want. This is just how I do it. And I actually do it this way every time I get the opportunity, which is not every day, but at least every week. I put a book in people's hands 2 or 3 times a week. And it works like this. I'm asking questions. I'm listening. I'm listening for both product and income opportunities because I'm balanced. I'm probably even weighted on opportunity. Somebody says, yeah, I got 3 kids in college, or whatever. They say something, and I hear it. And I say, well, tell me about that. Where are they going to school? They're going here, they're going there, they're going there. And are they on scholarships? Yes or no, whatever, doesn't matter. I don't have any of these questions pre-planned. I just ask natural questions that a curious person would ask. And I ask whatever question comes to me in the moment. There's no book of them. There's no list of them. There's no strategy behind them. I don't ask questions that set the prospect up to give me the answer I want. I want the truth, whatever the truth is. Somebody says they're all on scholarships, not going to cost me a nickel. Great. I just keep asking questions. I just keep listening. But if somebody does say, I got 3 kids in college, that's where all our money's going, I might do it then. I might wait a while, but just to show you so we don't go too deep into this, it sounds something like this. It would sound like, hey, Carolyn, I'm reading this book, and I'd pull it out. I'm reading this book. And it shows me, it's teaching me how to earn enough second income, totally separate source income. I don't have to alter my job, my career, anything. To send 2 or 3 kids to college, and then when they're done with college, I get to keep the money for the rest of my life. So I'm not out of pocket for my kids' college education. And when they're done, it's like they're sending me 10% of their income for life. Now, I just made that up. I have never said that exactly. I just made it up. But what I'm doing is casting a vision and giving the prospect detail about what this book is teaching me. And then when I'm done casting that vision, I ask a very simple question. And I ask it this way all the time. You can change it if you want. I just say, if that were true, would you want to read about it? And I'm not prone to exaggeration, and I have no reason to lie, but I've been doing this with the book for 10 years. And I've never, ever, ever had one person say, no, don't want to read about it. Now, if I would have said, hey, I got this book about how to make a lot of money, yeah, people would say, no, I don't want to read about it. But the reason people don't say no is I'm not talking about a book that's about a lot of money. I'm talking about their kids' college education. Somebody says, blah, 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 and my parents are older and, they can't take care of themselves so well. I might ask them, so how are you taking care of them? Are you hiring people? Are they in a nursing home? I have personal experience with this. So I might ask this question, if your parents need memory care, like if they have dementia or Alzheimer's and they technically need to be in a memory care facility, there's a distinction between a memory care facility and a nursing home. If they have to be in a memory care facility, Medicare and Medicaid won't pay any of it. Not even a percent. They won't pay any of it. So if they need to be in a nursing home and that's, $3,000 or $4,000 a month, Medicare and Medicaid is probably going to pay it. But if they have dementia, if they have Alzheimer's, that's going to cost at least $5,000 a month in after-tax money. Insurance not going to pay it. Medicare is not going to pay it. Medicaid's not going to pay it unless your parents invested in a memory care specific policy decades and decades ago, which they wouldn't have because
they didn't need it.
The toxic load in the 50s and 60s had not caught up with us and ruined our brains yet. But 30, 40, 50 years worth of, I don't know if it's eating pesticides or staring at computer screens, our brains are fried way before our bodies. So somebody tells me something about their parents, I might ask, memory care, nursing home. Maybe they say at nursing home, it's all covered. Great. I just keep asking and keep waiting. Somewhere in the inquisition, in the curiosity, they're going to tell me where their pain point is in life around money. And it's either retirement or it's debt or it's education or it's healthcare. How do I know that? Well, because 95% of us are broke. And, you know, it's a big opportunity. So, finish the process. That were true, would you want to read about it? They say yes. I say, I'll tell you what, this is my copy. How do I know with integrity it's my copy? Well, I bought it. Now, some of you might say, well, yeah, but if you got 50 of them in your trunk, that's kind of disingenuous. Are all 50 copies your books? So I guess, you know, situational ethics, we all have a line we draw. You know, you just discovered where my integrity line is. I don't have any qualms about telling people, this is my book. I got it all marked up. It's got my name in it. You know what, Carolyn? It'd only take you about an hour to look through this. I never asked somebody to read it. People have an issue about reading, right? They don't like to read. They're not good at reading. Just take you about an hour, Carolyn, to look through this. Look at the pretty pictures, read the quotes, look at the diagrams, learn whatever you learn, see if you have any questions. If you can do that in the next 2 days, I'll loan you this copy. In the next 2 days. Now, if Carolyn says something like, sure, that sounds like a good idea, you know what, I'll try and look at that in the next 2 days. After 42 years, you listen for certain words. Somebody says the word try, I hear no do. There's either do or not do. There's no try. Somebody says try. I say, you know what? Sounds like you're busy. I'm studying this right now. Let me know when you can actually look at it in the next couple of days and I'll loan it to you. Somebody says, yeah, that's awesome. They take the book from me and says, you know what? I'm going out of town. You know, maybe I can look at it while I'm on the plane. What'd you say?
Maybe.
Maybe I can loan it to you sometime when you can actually look at it. You got to have this kind of confidence or you'll hand out books all day long and people won't read them because they don't. What you got to know about 95% of the people in this world, they have no relationship at all with their word. We have this conspiracy in this country, especially in America, that you and I can make these quasi promises all day long. We never intend to keep them. We just use some excuse why we don't keep them. Oh, this came up, that came up. I got busy. It rained, whatever. And we let each other off the hook. And so we've been doing it for decades and decades and decades. So it's part of our culture where people say yes, and they don't mean it. And if you want to like protect your books and protect your integrity and protect your time and not chase people that don't keep their word, don't give it to people unless they very clearly make a promise to you. They'll look at it in the next 2 days. You give them the book, call them back, get trade information, just hand them your phone and say, put your digits in my phone. And then 2 days later, you call them back. You don't need to be fancy. Don't ask them the salesy, what'd you like best? Where do you see yourself? Don't ask any of that silly stuff. Just ask them what they thought or how they felt about it. Because if they didn't like the book, it doesn't matter what kind of stupid sales question you ask them. they still don't like the book. So if they don't like the book, you're better off just asking and finding out that they didn't like the book. And here's what I found. This is just my experience. If I hand out 100 books and follow up, which I haven't followed up on everybody, but if I follow up, about 50% of the time they will have looked at the book in 2 days. The people who will have looked at the book in 2 days, that's your gold. Those are the people you want to work with because they keep their word. About 50% of the people that promise to look at it in 2 days will not have looked at it, and what they'll do is tell you a story about why they didn't, like it rained, and they'll look at it this week. And so what do you do because they already have the book? Just see if you can pin them down, 48 hours, get a recommitment. About half of those people 48 hours later will have looked at the book. I got a guy I gave a book to 9 years ago. Twice a year he promises to read the book. Still hasn't read it. So that's what you do. You don't do it with everyone. Some people, if you're talking to them and all they talk about is health and fitness and products and, you talk to them about Shaklee products. Just take what people give you. Go in the direction that people share their life with you. If they're all about products and fitness, lead with the products. Whenever I lead with the products, after I give them whatever I'm going to give them about the products, information, samples, whatever, I always say something like, Carolyn, when you find out how incredible these products are, when you feel better in the morning, when you have more energy, when you're more awake, when you sleep better in the next 30 days, I'll show you how to make an extra $2,000 a month for the rest of your life. Not only your life, but your kid's life and your grandkid's life. Legacy income. Probably never seen anything like it. It's kind of like having a rich uncle, and he leaves everything to you and your family. And all because you fall in love with these products. You plant that seed while people try your products. My experience is they tend to work better. Kind of a double blind thing.
Richard, you are so gracious with your time, and there are so many different areas that we look forward to staying connected on. Would you just give us a vision, maybe relating to what Adam has done and some other experiences? Give a vision to us of what we can dream about and envision and create a possibility of for ourselves personally, for our teams here, and for our business, for our company.
Well, yeah, that's easy. You're also very fortunate. There are tens of millions. I guess more importantly, in the last 70 years, there's been hundreds of millions of people that have found themselves making a choice to try to do something in network marketing. And I use try intentionally. And because of their ignorance or wrong place, wrong time, circumstance, whatever, they end up in a substandard company. And so, they try, and they go tell people about it, and they expose their reputation with their network, and the company lets them down, or the products let them down, or you guys are really, really, really fortunate to have this legacy company, these extraordinary products, this amazing Renaissance man as an owner. And it kind of epitomizes opportunity. And then, it begs the question, what are you doing with it? And of course, I'm never one to tell people what they should do. So if you don't want to do anything with it, if you don't want to improve the financial part of your life, your personal development, your leadership, the adventures that you have in life, I don't have an opinion about that at all. I think if you want to sit home and watch TV for the rest of your life and That's fine. I don't judge people from what they want. But if you're sitting here saying, I want what these master coordinators have created, I want that kind of freedom, I want that kind of abundance, I want that kind of adventure. I mean, you're sitting on just an absolute gold mine to create that, and create it much, much faster and at greater levels than they had the opportunity to create it. I mean, sometimes people look at people like these master coordinators and go, "Wow, if I was there in the beginning," oh my God.
They don't even have any idea what it was like in the beginning, do they?
In the beginning, you had nothing but a mess, and you know what? Every 7 years, you changed ownership, and you guys didn't know if you were coming or going, and you got carbon copy literature, and you just don't ever want to be in a company in the beginning. It's not exciting, and it's not good. What you want to build wealth in network marketing is you want to find a legacy company. And Carolyn mentioned, Adam Green, who's this kid that 7 years ago he came and had breakfast with me. He was 22 years old. And good analogy. So 7 years ago, he joined a company that was about 20 years old and already had 1 million distributors in it. And this is what he's done since then. So he asked me, how do I, because he'd been in the company for a while, and he was like, he had some success going on, but it was all product oriented. And he didn't want to, and his mom put him in the business because his mom was a distributor in the company for 20 years. He didn't want to create what she'd created, which it took her 20 years to build her business, because it was all trade show and, nutritional product booth and, crystal trade show, whatever, flea market things, and, the cure this and this product does this, all that kind of stuff around products. And Adam he saw himself more as a business guy, as a modern day network marketer. And he wanted to know how to do it. And I said, well, just real simple, just balance. Take this book, study it. And so what he did is he sent a 4-year career to everybody on his entire team at all levels as soon as they hit the very first position in the compensation plan, which in his company was only like $300. So he sent it to a lot of people. And he started teaching it, and he used it and taught people to use it with prospects. And his team, so today, Adam is 29. He might have just turned 29. In 2016, he made $1 million. In 2017, he made $1.5 million. That was last year. His income is just under $200,000 a month now. He has 70,000 people on his team. His sales are like $3 million a month. And he did that in a legacy company. And you can do that. Or you can do, and it doesn't mean you can do that, but what it means is whatever you want to do, you can do it. If some 22-year-old kid with no education, he dropped out of college, he was a personal trainer making $1,500 a month, if he can make $2 million, well, then you can make $250,000. You can do whatever you want to do. But you can't do it deeply steeped in peddling products. You got to sell the dream. You got to sell what people want. You got to sell what will move people. And you are all in a beautiful position to lift Shaklee up into its destiny, to be one of the biggest, most respected, most potent, fastest moving, most influential companies in our profession. You're a $20 billion company. And I actually say that about 3 or 4 other companies. And I want you to know I say that about 3 or 4 other companies because it's true for all of them. That you got legacy ownership, an incredible track record, amazing products, and all you have to do is embrace the business model that your founders chose. What defines network marketing is that everyone gets to build a team from day one. Simple as that. Everyone gets to build a team from day one. You say it a lot of different ways. Everybody gets to recruit. Everybody gets to sponsor. You don't have to wait a week. You don't have to wait a month. You don't have to get to the first rank. You know, I can go online, enroll Carolyn, and at the same time be screen sharing, and she can enroll somebody a nanosecond later. That's what defines network marketing. Not only can you do it, you're supposed to do it. Because the way network marketing works is not by how much product each individual can sell. It's by getting 1 million people who sell however much product they want. And you know, you got 1 million people, you're going to have some people that sell $10,000 a month worth of Shaklee products. They're going to have a little nutrition store, or, you know, they're going to have a network. They're going to have a blog. They're going to have something. They're going to pump product through the channel like crazy. And you're going to have some people that just use $100 a month themselves. But the way you do billions and billions is to get millions and millions. I mean, I don't know. Why don't we just look at the #1 company in the space for the last 50 years? That's Amway. They do $8-9 billion a year because they have the best products? Because they have the best compensation plan? This is a company that the public can't stand. Distributors aren't even proud enough of Amway to tell the truth that they're Amway distributors. And you can't knock them off? I'll tell you what Amway does that Shaklee doesn't do. They don't talk about their products. I mean, they do, but not to a prospect. They ask the prospect about their dreams. What you want your life to look like 5 years from now. And that's what they teach people to do, is chase their dreams. And so how do they do $9 billion a year? They got like 3 million distributors. So 3 million times whatever, $30 a month each, because of course 90% of them don't buy anything. It's just a numbers game. That's how you get there. You try to get to $1 billion a year by, you know, getting, you know, 50,000 superstar salespeople who sell a whole bunch of the best nutritional product on the planet. It doesn't work. What works is network marketing. Why? Because people want abundance way, 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 way more than they want the most amazing nutrition products. So go give it to them.
Richard, your coaching, your generosity, your graciousness, your leadership is a real gift. Thank you. You're getting huge applause from everyone here. And I think it's appropriate to sign off with not only that gratitude for you and the fact that we will obviously be staying very connected, but one of the last calls that we had, we created a hashtag after listening to you, and the hashtag was enough already.
I love that.
And thanks to you, that's a quote to you. So this is a comment to all of us in Shaklee. Enough already.
Enough already. Go build it.
Enough already. Go build it. Thanks, Richard. We will be very much in touch. We're very grateful for your time. Thank you so much. Cheers over here. Thank you.
Over and out.